For over a decade, the Beaus, Chicago's favorite man band, have thrilled audiences with their unique musical talent. With 3 vocalists, 2 pianists, they deliver tight harmonies and a diverse mix of mashup, pop, Broadway, standards, and parodies. Please welcome to the program, the Beaus. Hola, chicos. ¿Qué tal? How are you guys?
Oh, we're so good. We're so happy to be here.
I know. You guys just finished up Pride Month in the U.S., and how was that experience in Chicago?
It was wild. We had a wild parade and a wild time, but it was really, really fun. I think it was a really great celebration this year.
Yeah, we're lucky that the parade literally goes right out front of here, so we were able to be in the house and on the parade route. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I know that Edge Media, we covered it this year for our first time through photos, and which was awesome. But I have to say, I loved the whole Joe Wasisi debacle up there. Now, everyone turned out for her, but then there was some kerfuffle afterwards or something, which I thought as a Midwesterner, I was like, yeah.
It was wild the amount of people that showed up for JoJo.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, it was quite surprising. I did not think that. I mean, I knew she was like a child star. We at Edge have covered her many, many times. But I know she's transforming into her, not adolescence. Now she's young adult, yes. Which is, I'm proud that the community came out for it. And it'll be interesting to see where she goes with all of this. But let's get on to you, right? So you guys have been together for around, 10 years? I think I first ran into you about 8 years ago in St. Louis, Missouri. I also had the blessing of running into you guys, I think it was in the fall here in Puerto Vallarta, which is amazing. How did you guys get together a decade ago and create this scenario?
It's all his fault.
I had this dumb idea that I wanted to produce a bunch of silly singers and create nightlife entertainment, right? So I started this cabaret production company, and that fostered a lot of different styles of entertainment for a while, and that really distilled down to what you see here today. It really became this group of gentlemen that just ended up making the most sense for the product, yeah.
I love that. Now, so one of the things that I love that you guys do is you take a variety of different songs and you do mash them together. And it's pretty phenomenal. If my audience, if you haven't seen it, you'll definitely need to go check them out on that. How do you select those mashups and then get them to intertwine so perfectly?
Well, to be honest, we think about the things that we like to listen to, which is a lot of pop. I like to listen to a lot of disco, so you'll see things like that sprinkled in. We just put one together that's No More Tears mixed with On the Radio, mixed with Fame. So it's really just whatever's buzzing in our head, and then we get together Dustin and I and Olin get together to put these songs together, and we'll be sitting there arranging the songs, and another song will come up, and we'll just hear it and just mix it in to the flow as we're going.
So a lot of our songs that we started singing as the Beaus were just singular songs, and we loved them, and then we heard another song that was a mashup category. We call them samesies. And then we just started adding more and more songs. And as you're listening to one number, you might just hear a melody or a chorus from another song. And it's like Kiki said, I'm really a musical theater background. So when he is singing a song that might be a pop song, I might hear a musical theater piece of it, and we just mash them together. And that's kind of how we've been putting music together for the past couple years.
It also really helps that we're happy to be idiots in front of each other. And so we're constantly just saying whatever comes into our mouths, which can be good or bad. But it also happens musically that we're just singing shit, and you just come up with random lyrics, or you spin off into something else. Or I'm bad about somebody spawning me off into the witches rap from End of the Woods at any point. And so we just do that. We sort of take whatever it is at any moment, and then one of us will sing something and go, oh shoot, that goes with that. Yeah. And it's very organic, and I think that's part of our friendship really is what lets us do what we do really well, because we're just willing to be as dumb as possible with each other.
There's no bad suggestion when we're
None.
putting together music. It might not work, but it's not a bad suggestion.
And we might call you stupid for it, but it's with love.
Let's
you
just
know?
sing this on top of that. Nope, that doesn't work.
Not happening.
And it really is fun. Like the very first mashup that we ever did was in Vallarta. We rehearsed it when we were performing at the Palm. We rehearsed it out there on the sidewalk, put it together while we were performing in Vallarta. So this whole thing of mashups was born actually on Olas Altos.
My little seaside village. I love that.
Oh my goodness.
You clutched your pearls. How cute.
Touch my pearls. I love that Vallarta has that effect on people. It creates magic all over. But I have a question. So for my pianist, I know the singer boys over here, they can get wild and crazy. But how do you, as their accompanist, their pianist, their soul, their rock, their foundation, how do you keep up? Like, what if they just totally go off balance? How do you keep up with them?
That never happens. The bows are always on point. The lyrics are always perfection. We never have that problem, Justin, do we?
Never. Absolutely never.
No.
Lies! You are liars.
So Justin and I both come from strong musical theater backgrounds, and Justin's done a lot more jazz and such. And I think that just as collaborative pianists and audition players, you get used to just like taking whatever you get and running with it. And it has actually spawned some fun things as well. There's points where they'll go off the rails in the middle of a performance, and you hear beautiful piano music you never thought existed before. So I don't know. There's something about, we do a lot of rehearsal, so it seems to always work out. And again, the friendship really bonds it together. We sort of have each other's back as we run through. So
I think there's a lot to do with trust. We trust each other that someone is going to get us back on track, whether it's the singers, whether it's the accompanists. Someone will get us back on track eventually.
And our pianists are not just piano players, they also sing. And so there's a mic at the piano, and they are interjecting, and they are being part of it as well. So it really is more like having 5 of us collaborate rather than just the 3. And we really appreciate that too, because we do get off the rails so many times. And you'll just hear one of them just like tinkling along and saying the next line, like, come on, guys, get back to it.
Right? Get back on track, gentlemen. So we have, Edge Media, of course, is a queer media platform. How has your personal queer identity influenced your music, your performances, your audiences, and how does that affect you as performers and artists?
I think we bring a lot of queer humor to our songs and a lot of queer identifying music. We generally, Kyle and I love a Torch song. If we could do a whole show full of Torch songs, we absolutely would. So I think it's just bringing that queer identity, things that resound with us as queer people, to the stage.
And like when I was in school, they would always be like, all right, pick a male solo. And you get so used to that, but now we feel so comfortable to sing a female ballad or do a female trio song that we probably should not try to do, but we put it in our register and make it work for 3 men, and we don't have to worry about that, because being queer people, we kind of get to just be open with our arts and with everything that we project as well.
Yep. Just like love has no boundaries, our songs have no gender. So
Yeah, that's true.
we try
Well,
to keep them.
that's something I was thinking about, because the last performance I saw, you sing a couple love songs, and of course naturally they're heterosexual, but yet here I see before me 5 queer men, and they sing the same love song. How has that resonated with your audiences?
I think it's just a matter of audiences connecting to us and connecting to the material at large. The pronouns of the song don't necessarily mean anything, and I think it really is just how you're feeling in the moment, and what you're taking away from the performance at large.
Yeah, you're just selling the garment up there, basically.
we also really, from a queer side of things, we really embrace the camp side of it, which was very much of like, the cabaret and bar songs and that kind of thing. It kind of came in sort of like the gay movement and then there was embracement of that. But we really love the camp aspect of it, and when we lean into that, of how campy can we be. We just did a show over Christmas called Holodazzle, where we had a blow-up turkey, and we sang Turkey Lurkey Time, and we had Lucille's balls, and we had some Judy Garland, and I mean, we really loved like the camp aspect of the queer fun.
And there is one mashup that we do that is that has Cher, and so we all flip the hair and get into our Cher voice, and it's just stupid, but it's really funny, and we're the kind of artists that can pull that off, I think, whereas you might see somebody else trying it, and they'd be like, what are you doing?
So we, not to call you guys out, but I'm included in this. We are of a certain age bracket. I'm probably a little older than you guys, so a lot of the like torchy songs and the ballads and the Judy Garlands and the Debbie Reynolds numbers and things like that, of course we as gay men are going to resonate with. Have you seen an interest in the next and younger generations taking a look at that as the queer community?
What's really interesting is that through our work with our mashups, we're introducing younger audiences to older artists. So we take pop material and we blend it with some older Broadway tunes or older jazz tunes, and then that way they become familiar with it, because part of the art of cabaret is that it's something that your audience needs to relate to, and they need to know and understand and have some familiarity with. And so if you're singing a torch song that a 22-year-old kid has never heard before, they might get it, they might not get it. But if you're blending it with some stuff that they're already kind of into and they love and they know, and then you flip it into that song, they have a completely different experience and they begin to explore the material too,
It's kind of like whenever Gaga did all that stuff with Tony Bennett. I thought it like totally brought in a whole new demographic of people that never knew who Tony Bennett was. Which is really pretty amazing. Let me ask you, you have a young, pivot, change. Let's talk a little history and educate some people on this. Tell me a little bit about the infancy and the start of cabaret in general. I know, like, from my history, it looks like, kind of start late 20s, early 30s in Berlin. But how has, cabaret has always been a part of the queer community. Tell me a little bit about the history, and let's educate my audience.
Love to. All right.
Kyle's
So-
favorite subject. Do you want to stand in front, dear?
The oldest cabaret in the world is still in operation. It's in Montmartre in Paris, and it's on the hill. It's called Le Pan au Gilles, which was it's been in operation, I think, since about 1860. And this was a place where people would go to socialize, but artists started to collect there. And a lot of the famous artists and impressionists of the time, Toulouse-Lautrec, Salvador Dali, people like that, were going to these cabarets, these music halls where they were drinking at night and they couldn't pay their bills. So they would draw and give it to the owners of these bars. And that particular bar still has a lot of the artwork that those people created on the walls there. Well, anyways, so Paris was a really big hub for the art of cabaret. Cabaret was really just an intimate nightlife sort of environmental experience where people would gather and there would be music and, fellowship. Then you break into the 20s and things like that, and that's where the Berliner movement kind of starts. And you see that Marlene and Dietrich sort of aspect of things come up. And then even in the musical cabaret, there's a character named Sally Bowles, right? And Sally Bowles was actually a real cabaret entertainer from London who went to Berlin and was a cabaret entertainer there, and that whole story surrounds that was going on. And then at the same time, there was a bunch of sort of music hall stuff happening in London. Now you cut to the United States and in New York, and in New York, this is really interesting because in New York, for some reason, the singer aspect of cabaret rose to be the popular, most known sort of aspect of the genre, whereas in Europe, it was poetry, short plays, shadow shows, there was drag performances, can-cans, all of those other mixed medias. There was magic and cirque and things like that. So I think a lot of people who think of cabaret when they ask, like, what's a cabaret? Well, it's so it's so whatever you want it to be, as long as this really intimate environmental thing. So New York kind of changed that vibe for everybody, but educating everyone on the fact that a drag show is still cabaret, and that a comedy show is still cabaret. You go to see a magic show and it's still cabaret. So it's interesting throughout the years how it's changed.
Thank you for coming to our Tech Talk. Good night.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good night.
Tonight on the History Channel, gay news.
No, I think something really poignant that Kyle just said was I mentioned to somebody just like a month ago about being in cabaret, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't know you did drag," and people still relate those things, and I had to explain what singing cabaret in the form of a boy band was. So it really is about educating the people and just getting them to come to our show and see what it's like. That's the most important thing.
Well, and something to add for my audience here is that, the cabaret genre, dating all the way back to the late 1800s, have been one of the biggest safe spaces, I like to say, for the queer community from its inception. Its inception has been welcoming and inviting to people. I know with your productions, you do the same thing. You are so diverse and welcoming and inclusive in your performances. Through those performances, tell me something that has happened out of the number of thousands of performances you guys have done that has been a peak and a pit in a concert.
Hard-hitting questions, Darren.
There's been so many amazing moments. I think I can very clearly tell you one of the pit moments, but there's been so many like peak moments that they're hard to pin down.
Start with the pit. Yeah, what
Well,
was
the pit was we were performing at Splash nightclub, which was minibar at the time, and we were just a little bit underprepared, and we were dancing, and then we had lavaliers at that point, and someone's lavalier got stuck in someone's microphone, and it was like the lyrics were gone, and people were just staring at us like we were like a three-headed dog. It was we had to sneak out the back door that night.
Well, the sound didn't help either. We couldn't hear anything, and it was just a terrible experience all around. I mean, so we were thrown from the get-go. Like we stepped on the stage, and it was just like, what are we doing? I don't know. And so we've learned to adapt to our environments a lot since that show. I mean, that's been 15 years ago, and we've learned to adapt to a lot of different environments, and it's through experiences like that where you fall on your face, that you really learn.
And it's through experiences like that you get good opportunities. And a few years ago, I can't remember what year it was, we had the amazing opportunity to perform with Leslie Jordan when he was alive. And he did a show here in Chicago. And being on stage with him and singing with him was the most, he was so fucking short. But it was just so great to be singing with him and having so much fun with him. And I'd say that peak made all of the lavaliers falling off and all of the negatives in the past just go away, because it was just a grand experience.
Yeah. It was really fun to open for him, and we really missed.
Well, that was actually going to be my next question to make it a little easier for you. Instead of finding a peak, give me your top 3 celebrities you guys have encountered working with through the years. So we know Leslie Jordan. Who else?
Well, we didn't perform with, but we got to meet Carol Burnett together. Yeah.
Amy Armstrong. Hello.
Amy Armstrong, the celebrity of celebrities.
She's the reason that we were basically doing this.
Yeah, the cabaret mom of cabaret moms.
The cabaret mom.
Yeah.
Other peak moments, I would say, not just only composing on the steps of the Palm Cabaret, but doing our run at the Palm was a highlight. Just getting those varied audiences. It's one thing to do shows here in Chicago or in sort of the greater Chicagoland area, but then to go out and go do performances elsewhere and to still be able to draw that audience. And you reach a point at some point and go, are we having fun because we kind of made our crew? But then you get out of that comfort zone and you still go out and you're still killing it and having a blast, and you realize, oh no, this touches a lot more people than just the people that we see on a regular basis, which is a lot of fun. And to see people get excited about, I think, especially with our newer mashups that are really integrating some of the more recent pop numbers, getting to see people's reactions to that or people like losing their shit about it, that's always a fun highlight moment.
Absolutely.
Because we love it, and that's like, we'll be singing it constantly, but then to see the audience really enjoy it, yeah, that's fun.
To see some guy melt in a bar chair because of a harmony, that's like boner inducing. It's great.
That's amazing. I love it. Yeah, I mean, you guys definitely do an amazing job. Now I know you guys have a standing monthly gig. It's called what is it? The Victor? No, you guys are always
Vincent,
at
Andersonville.
Vincent in Chicago, a monthly standing thing at the Vincent, which is amazing and a great venue. I have been there. Kyle took me there when I was in Chicago 1 year visiting. It was awesome. And so tell me what, like, a young queer person off the street of Chicago who does not know the Beaus, and they say, oh, I want to go to this show at the Vincent and see these boys. What can they expect to see?
Well, Vincent is really special in the fact that it is a live bistro room. So it's not a listening room, right? So people are having conversations, they're having food, they're having great drinks, and they just happen to be experiencing this like all-encompassing musical show that's kind of going on at the same time, which is really fun to like perform in live rooms like that. So that's a really different, unique experience. And there's other rooms in the city that we play, like when we did Davenport's last month, and we have another one coming up at Epiphany Center for the Arts. Tomorrow night we're at Chicago Jazz Showcase, and those are all listening rooms where people come and we have their undivided attention, which is a completely different show. The energy is totally changes, you know. So I think the environment too, the performance environment that we're in, affects the show a lot.
I think that's absolutely true. And when you're in a live room like that, regardless whether you're in a listening room or a live room, you're going to be able to sing along because we always have things people know. You're going to find a new mashup that you probably never thought those songs went together. And you're going to have some very queer-centric jokes and humor that just naturally comes along with it.
Well, that's what I was going to say. How every audience is different, and of course you have your standards. Like when you go to the Vincent, that's what's the kind of the demographic of the audience will be. Who's going to be there and enjoy it? How do you and who makes that decision the second you step on stage and you look out on your crowd and you go, whoa, this is not the Vincent anymore? All right, well, where are we and how do we tailor that audience?
You know what? This is a question that we talk about a lot internally, of whether it's the dichotomy of like, do you program for yourself or do you program for your audience? Because there's a whole idea that if you program things that you love, people will gravitate towards you. So I think we really try to strive for a balance between things that we're really passionate about and things that we know are gonna get audiences to sing along or dance or have a good time with.
And then when you're looking at your audience, you read the room, right? You walk into a space and you're just kind of like, oh, what kind of crowd are we dealing with today? Are they alive or dead, or who's coming along for the journey? But I think the common thread in all of the rooms that we play is that the people are just there to have a good time, whether you're gay, whether you're straight, however you identify. People are there to have a good time, and if somebody's not having a good time, we're gonna bounce your ass out. But outside of that, everybody else is having a good time. Stick around because we're fun, you know, and it's fun and silly.
Now, you guys have definitely been in the industry for quite some time, not a long time, but enough to be seasoned, as I like to say. What would you tell a young queer person that wants to get into this genre of music as well as performance? What would be your best advice for them?
Do it. Period. Just go do it. Go see shows. Introduce yourself to people that are in the shows. That's a lot of how we all met, is just we saw each other at different shows and we're like, hey, I want to do something with you. It's a lot about connections, to be honest.
And especially if you're in a city
That's
like
most of
Chicago
life.
that has some like great venues, there's the gamut of things that are happening, right? You can see Janine Garofalo, in a small, tiny room. You can see Ben Platt in a large, massive stadium, and all of these things you see a wide variety of performances, but we're not the only, cabaret cabaret folk in town, right? There's all sorts of things. So if you're, no matter what city you're visiting, especially if it's a big one, looking out for those bars, those either listening rooms or places that are having live music, those Google searches, those quick checks on social media, find the rooms that are doing things like this, and like Kiki said, go meet them, go say hi, go introduce yourself. Open mics, we have a couple of those that happen here in Chicago, live open mics where people are playing piano live. You bring sheet music, come and do it. It's the next step up from karaoke. There's all sorts of ways to get yourself experience, time, and to meet people to do it with.
Yeah, and then I think even to that note, if you're a young queer individual and you're going into show business, there's a lot of roles that you have to play, right? They're roles, and you just have to rise to the occasion and play the role as it's meant to be seen. And the way you can really find your voice, I think, and this is what's most important, in between those shows, in between the roles that you play on a stage, and in between all the larger paying gigs that are in big theater houses, you get to find your voice on the cabaret stages, and whatever you make and whatever you want to be, that's what it will be. So it's a really interesting component to the art form to be able to mold the experience and mold your persona and yourself and be yourself on a stage rather than portraying some things. And I think what's so important about this style of art.
And I'm a perfect storyline for that. I saw Kyle in a show probably 15 years ago when I was just visiting shows in Chicago and saw that's what I want to do. It was the art of singing in the cabaret form that drew me in. And I literally walked up to him and
I was
said,
all cross-dressed and 6'2", and I was in a wacky
He was
wig,
in a wig.
and my makeup was all disheveled. I mean, I was a train wreck. I'm not a pretty drag queen, so I have a square jaw and a beard, but whatever. It all
But
worked.
it was a fun show, and it brought me in, which is what it's supposed to do for the audience. And I literally walked up to him and said, "Hi, I want to be in your show." And he was like, "Who are you?" And that's what you have to do to get your name out there and to get your foot in the door. I just kind of walked in, and he was like, "Can you even sing?"
And I hired him. I hired
I've
him
been
for the
here-
next show. I was like, I
been
just
here
have
the
a
whole
really
time.
good feeling about this kid. And the person I was working with at the time who helped me found all this, her name was Brenda, and she was like, "Are you kidding me? You don't even know if he can sing." And I was like, I just have a great feeling about him. I don't know. I'm just going to make a little role for him in the show. And I made room for Olin in the show. And it was super fun and interesting, and we built a lifelong friendship over it.
That's it. I mean, that is what it's about. It's about building relationships and connections and patience. Whoever said that, thank you. Give yourself patience. Give yourself time, because that's the one thing I do see in younger generation is they want it right now. And I'm like, no, it takes a little bit of time because you're not ready for it yet. The universe has to make you ready for it, right?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you making those comments. Now, Kiki brought something up or said a word earlier in the program that I really love. And I have been noticing, we have like Beyonce doing country right now. We've had other artists venture into different genres of music that they are not known for. But who is gonna bring back disco? I miss disco.
We
Look,
all do.
We are trying. I try to mix in as much disco as I possibly can.
If Ethel Merman can do it,
Right? And she had a disco album.
yes, the Ethel Merman Disco album. It's one of the greatest albums of all time. If you haven't heard it, it's on Spotify now. You used to only be able to get it in dark, seedy rooms in the back of a record store, but now you can get it on Spotify.
Look, it's also the funny thing about disco is that it is so easily adaptable to have just piano or like basic instrumentation, whereas a lot of the like popular music now, it's synthesized, it's produced, so it's harder to translate into a cabaret setting. So that's why I lean a lot on disco, is because it's fun, number one, and it's easy to reproduce.
And it's musically
Oh, 'cause
complex. We need
I mean,
things
like
to
I
know.
said, I'm not an age
Absolutely.
You can do
demographic.
so much harmonically with it, especially with the rhythms, the way they all like pile on top of each other. And I mean, heck, we've done that in our freaking mashups.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is like I love it because I'm from that era, but I don't hear it in today's like radio or Spotify or anything as much, so I have to go search for it. But Another interview I had when I was talking about music and disco specifically, I said, who would you want? Who do you think? Who's the next up-and-coming pop star that could translate that? Miley Cyrus.
Absolutely.
I could so see Miley Cyrus bringing disco back.
I think so too, especially with her giant mouth. She could do it.
Hey now, I have a big mouth too.
Her lips to God's ears.
Guys, thank you guys so much for coming on my little program today. Please be sure and check out the Beaus on their website, thebeaux.co, C-O, not com, .co. Also follow them on their Instagram at Feathered Beaus, and Instagram and Facebook. Also, please be sure to check out all of Edge Media's work on edgemedianetwork.com and on all our social media platforms for queer content each and every day. To walk us out of today's program, I present for you the Beaus.
Feels like I'm standing in a timeless dream of light mists of pale amber rose. Feels like I'm lost in a deep cloud of heavenly scent, touching, discovering you.
I do my hair toss.
Check your nails.
Kylie, how you feeling?
Feeling good as hell.
Hair toss.
Check my nails.
Babies, how you feeling?
Feeling good as hell.
When I wake up in the morning, love,
Keep it moving.
Yes, Lord.
and the sunshine hurts my eyes.
Yes, girl.
And something without the warning, love,
Keep it moving.
Yes, Lord.
it's heavy on my mind. Then I look at you,
If he don't love you anymore,
and the world is alright with me.
just walk your fine ass out that door.
Just one look at you,
If he don't love you anymore,
and I know it's gonna be.
I know it's gonna be a lovely day.
Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Feeling good as hell.
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day,
lovely day.
Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Feeling good as hell.
Lovely day,
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. You've got the most unbelievable blue eyes I've ever seen. You've got me almost melting away.
Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you're a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify.
If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out that door. Kiss me goodbye. Feeling good as hell.
lovely day,
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day.
Hair toss, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling?
Feeling good as hell.
Lovely day, lovely day, lovely day, lovely day. Something has changed within me.
Something is not the same.
I'm through with playing by
The rules of someone else's game.
Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leave.
It's time to
I love you always, forever, near and far. Closer
Kiss me
together
goodbye.
everywhere. I will be with you, everything I will do for you
I love you, always, forever, near and far, closer together, everywhere. I will be with you, everything I will do for you. Say you'll love me forever, never stop, never, whatever, near and far, and always and everywhere and every. Say you'll love me forever, never stop, never, whatever, near and far, and always and everywhere and everything. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out that door. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out that door. A lovely hair
Time if I'm flying
solo, hair time
good to say
flying free. A lovely hair
to those who cross me. Take a message back to say
Tell them how I am defying gravity. I'm flying high, I'm defying gravity, and soon I'll mash them and renown.
And yes, we know it sounds cliche.
Keep it moving.
No matter what, we slay
Yes,
all
Lord.
day.
And you can't stop my lovely